If you don't mind me saying so, chap, you need to work on your corner kicks, poppycock.
All right, step aside. The real football team is here. I love England. I own beautiful property here.
We're here to play football, and that's all you've been talking about. Do you even have a game plan?
I do. It's called Grab Andy Dalton by the Pussycat and score more points.
Excuse me, dear sir. This is Great Britain. We don't use such foul language, and we certainly don't talk to women the way you spoke to Ms. Dalton. Ms. Dalton? No, it's a ginger, which I'm told is neither male nor female. Believe me, nobody respects women more than me. I only talk that way to Rosie O'Donnell. Well, Your Majesty, I understand that you brought the Donald here to tell him something? Yes. Don, you know I love you.
Of course.
But I've been having foreign affairs with another U.S. politician. Excuse me? Let's bring her out.
You bitch! Those 30,000 deleted emails were to the Queen, weren't they?
And Melania.
CNC! CNC! CNC!
Hey!
My final thoughts. We started playing games in London in 2007. We've really appreciated the culture, the history, and the fact that your Big Ben is not a sexual predator. And while Americans come to terms with the President Trump and the British deal with Brexit, we distract ourselves with sports. And to show our ultimate respect, we played this game as our English brethren would and ended it with a boring 27-27 tie score. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other.
Those were the days where you could do those types of jokes and you wouldn't lose like family members and like neighbors out of that. That was a funny one. I saw you laughing backstage, but back in London. So we brought back the old London animation.
It's crazy to see how far that's, or how long ago that was. I mean, you know, the Queen is no longer with us. Jerry Springer is no longer with us. You know, we're getting old, man.
Yep, it's true, and then it's funny how some things stay the same, because I feel like you could just swap out Andy Dalton with like Joe Burrow, with that comment. Although he's not a ginger, but close enough. He's certainly playing like one in Cincy, and then yeah, you might have a President Trump again. Who the heck knows? So evergreen content, even when we don't mean to be. But that was back in the day where you could make funny jokes with no agendas, and it was good, man. But
well, the funniest joke of the video was clearly the Dolphins. Yes. You know, win song at the beginning.
That's true. Yeah, so I had to throw that in there. That was a last minute thing. The Miami Dolphins. You know, I didn't have time to put together a rebuttal to your video last week, which just made fun of me for saying the Dolphins weren't real. You know, I'll save that for another day. I feel like the Dolphins will lose another time. But NFL back in London, man, it was fun. Actually, it was very weird. I don't know if people watched it, but
it's playing again.
It's playing again.
Yeah.
What?
The oh, maybe it's on my end.
Yeah, you're hearing things, man. You got to get out of your house, man, or get some, you get some earwax. It's ringing. But the Disney Plus, man, they had a really cool thing. You said you've seen something like this with Nickelodeon. I'd never seen anything like this. They had animations of the game live. So as like Trevor Lawrence was like throwing touchdown passes, it was like an animation in Toy Story, Andy's room. My kids loved it. They didn't want to change it to the real game. So it was actually a pretty interesting use of content in this world.
Well, I think that's only going to evolve with, a lot of these AI tools that we see surfacing and talk about pretty frequently here. So they did this, I guess, for the last few seasons. I don't know if it was just in London, but they teamed up with Nickelodeon again with the effort of trying to target, I guess, a younger audience. And when somebody would score a touchdown, the whole end zone would become like the slime zone. And slime would be piling out of the pylons and the goalposts, and the whole end zone would fill up with slime. All augmented reality, right? Like that's all this is. But I think that as these AI tools advance, we're going to see a lot more cool stuff like this. And again, this leads to collaboration efforts. In this case, with Disney and Toy Story.
Yeah, well, Disney's struggling. I think what they own ABC, they own ESPN, all that stuff. So they're looking for reasons to make that investment worth it. But I thought it was interesting, man. It was very interesting that the game was so boring that you had to do something like that. But regardless of any of the cool tools, let's chat about the games, man. I think we got some cool things going on. We'll dive into some of the unfantasy standings and what's happened. And we're going to do some like live pack breaks for the winners and losers in this week as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm excited, and for what it's worth, we both had good weeks in picking the games, but our teams didn't have respective good weeks. So we'll dive into that. Let's start with last night. You know,
We came ready. We came ready. I mean, I'm already moved on. Like Bill Belichick said, on to Cincinnati. I am like off of football. I am already into basketball mode. There's the Heat. I'm talking Celtics at this point. I'm not going to fair weather fan and ditch the Patriots hat, but I'm done. It's October. I am giving up on the team. Judon's hurt. I think out for the year. Christian Gonzalez probably out for the year. Their two best defensive players. Like they are done. So I'm on to basketball. And I know you don't have any Knicks game to talk about, but we got beat up, man. Our teams didn't even score a touchdown combined.
Yeah, and the Giants. Again, I'm a fan, and maybe I'm looking through this as a different set of goggles, but that was arguably one of the worst football games I've ever seen done by a professional team. 11 sacks at home. You can't score a touchdown. You got into the red zone for the first time at the end of the third quarter. Daniel Jones looks lost. He's always looking to run the ball, and when you can corner him, he just throws the interception. There's no help on the offensive line. There's no help in the running game. Breida did what he could, but, again, if you have nobody blocking for you, it's useless. Seattle flew across the country and literally made New York the laughing stock of the week. 11 sacks. How the hell do you get sacked 11 times in an NFL game? It's insane, but it just wasn't them. I mean, Khalil Mack had 6 sacks himself against Vegas. So the theme of this week, as I put in the topics to discuss in the email, it's all about sacks, man. There was 54 sacks in football this week. So clearly defenses are starting to kind of, maneuver and hide some of their plays in order to, disrupt the passing game, the dominant passing game. But what we saw in the Meadowlands, I guess, in the last 2 nights was just embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets look better. Zach Wilson looked better going against the Chiefs than the Giants looked going against Seattle. So, yeah, no fun, man. I mean, Patriots suck too. We don't even want to sit on those games. But the Patriots are officially done, man. I feel like this is what it's like to be maybe a Bears fan, man, for me at this point, because I don't see them.
There's definitely a deeper abyss that you could fall in if you're comparing it to Chicago.
Yes.
So let's jump into that game, because I mean, if you're a Bears fan, you're heading into that fourth quarter. You're like, finally, all right, we're looking good. We're clicking. We got a run game. We got DJ Moore in the mix. He's scoring touchdowns. He's catching passes, and then complete collapse. Against another, winless team in the Broncos, who got absolutely embarrassed in South Florida the week before by giving up 70 points. So, Denver goes on the road in Chicago, and, they completely embarrass the Bears in the fourth quarter. And look, Chicago, maybe they're looking for that epic fail for next season. But again, this is another team that is really struggling. There's no hope in sight for them whatsoever. If you can't close out a game at home against a winless team, you don't have a lot of hope left in this season for you.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was interesting in the early games. There was a lot of close games that you didn't think were going to be close, but that Indy game was super close.
Couple overtime games.
Yep. So it was fun to watch anyway. It was a good brand of football to watch in those early 1:00 games, I guess the mid games at that point. But I don't even know where to go from here.
Well, I mean, look, say what you want about London. Jacksonville did what they had to do to pull out the win there. I thought Atlanta did not show up. I don't know. Did Jacksonville stay there for the week? Because they're playing there again this week against Buffalo.
I hope so. That would be awful of their travel arrangements to do that to them. But yeah, I think Jacksonville's trying to make them kind of like that's their home squad as they're trying to bring out into London, because they can't fill up a stadium, I guess, in Jacksonville. So hopefully you can do that into London. But yeah, I don't know if they've done that before, but it's the first time I've seen that. I didn't expect them to stay out that way and do that.
I don't know if they're playing at Wembley again, but typically what they'll do is they'll keep a team in Europe and then they'll play like in Germany or, another spot in England. I think I've seen that once or twice before.
I don't think so. I think you think you're senile, just like you're listening to that music that wasn't playing earlier in the show. Because
Maybe.
they wouldn't do that. The only one they got to Jacksonville because they couldn't sell out the stadium, so the owner made a nice little deal where he gets like revenue share and all that stuff. But they wouldn't be able to keep a team without home games from there. The Patriots play Kansas City in Germany this year.
Whose home game is that?
I don't know, but that's
because this is the Bills' home game now. Jacksonville, like each team loses one home game.
Oh, got you.
So Buffalo, who definitely could sell out a stadium, has to sacrifice one to go to England.
I don't know if you've been on a plane to Vegas ever, or even if like actually I know you have because you frequent that place. But even if you just have this layover, it's the most annoying flight to get on because there's always a bunch of freaking drunk British people going to freaking party. Now I think like things are going to happen in reverse now, where you got these annoying Bills Mafia heading over to England. So you're gonna have these nice, sweet English people heading back home, drinking their tea on their Virgin Atlantic flight or British Airways flight, and you're gonna have like people throwing each other through the carts down the aisle. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, clearly, I think Buffalo is going to win that game, but we'll cross that bridge later on in the show. Yeah, that Colts game, man, that was close. LA, I think, flexed enough to win that game. I don't know how good Indy is. Having their quarterback come back, definitely helped. But losing a close game like that at home, you got to win those games. And I think LA definitely snuck one out. And, maybe we're not giving LA enough credit because for the last, 4 weeks, they've arguably played really good games. One little hiccup against San Francisco, which is, again, I think one of the better teams in the league. But I think overall, they're not that bad, man.
Did you watch that LA Indy game?
I saw the ending of it. Yeah.
I mean, Matthew Stafford couldn't stand up. I was like the weirdest thing in the world. Like, how do you not take yourself out of the game or get taken out of the game? With literally he couldn't stand up, but he was making. It worked, but I very, very, very surprised, especially in today's NFL, that they allowed him to stay in there and do that. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, again, what Stafford was able to do at the end of that game, help in the running game too, definitely push them over the edge. But, these are things where I think it was last night's game. They took somebody out and they said he had to go into concussion protocol because he was wobbly getting off the field because he got kneed in the head or something by the quarterback. And they took him out of the game and he flipped out on the sidelines. He was going crazy. He's like, what do you mean you're taking me out of the game? So you have a scenario like that on one end, and on the other end, you got a guy who literally puts asses in the seats because he is the quarterback and they leave him in there. Team bailed him out, but who knows? We're starting to see quarterbacks drop because of concussions left and right here. I mean, Watson going out definitely hurt the Browns this week. Baltimore is a good team. They're starting to showcase that in multiple areas, but Cleveland clearly needs Watson on the field to be competitive. I think that is essential at this point in the year. And if this guy is Mr. Glass, then their season is going to go up in flames real quick.
Yeah, that hasn't worked out so well. At the end of that LA game, I couldn't stop when they were interviewing Stafford, like his teeth. If you check out his teeth, he's got the most perfect, pristine teeth, but they look so good that they are stick out a little bit. Kind of like the dentures. I wish we had a clip of that. Kind of like the dentures Jets fan a couple weeks ago that was yelling and his dentures fell out. I don't know if you caught that clip, but it was hilarious. You should
did not. How did we not showcase that here?
I totally forgot until now, which is very much annoying. I'm going to find that and bring that back next week. But Stafford has got these pristine teeth. So
he's an LA boy now. He's got he's all manufactured.
Yes. We tell me where you want to go from here, man. But we can go over some of the unfan stuff this week. I felt super confident going into this week because I didn't even change any of my lineup. I felt like this was it was the first week in a while anyway that I haven't changed my lineup. I kept the same thing, rolled with it, ran it back with going with heavy Jets. I had the Cardinals in there on defense, which helped, but it didn't end up working. I mean, I'm consistent, haven't been able to put up the hump, but the Jets really, you can't, just when you think the Jets are down and out and they're going to completely get demolished, here they come. You just cannot predict the NFL like we used to.
Well, I mean, I still think they have a solid defense, they can't get anything going on offense, which means that their special teams card is still extremely valuable. They're going to keep punting the ball left and right. They're going to keep, if they're not going to go for it, they're not going to do anything. Like their offense is just miserable. They had one good drive at the beginning of the second half. And, other than that, they blew it. And I think their defense kept them in the game simply by just, I guess, shadowing Mahomes. You take Kelsey out of the equation and, you keep Mahomes in the pocket. I mean, he's really got no other options. He doesn't have a Tyreek Hill anymore. Tony is not the answer to that team needs. So I think that if teams start recognizing that and they can apply pressure both up the middle and on the edges to keep Mahomes contained in the pocket, and you throw at least a slot corner on Kelsey, maybe double team him in the second level. I mean, you're looking at a way to stop Kansas City. Nobody's really shown that except Detroit yet. But I think the Jets, if they can complement their defense with at least some momentum offensively, somebody that can do something, then, they can squeak out a couple games here and there. But I still think that their special team cards is definitely the most valuable at this stage for all the scoring positions.
That's what you would think. But I think I had them in the special teams this week. I don't feel like they didn't get me that many points.
I mean, it's week to week, but I feel like the punts are definitely going to keep adding up. They might not have had the most unfantasy points this week, but you look back the last 2 weeks, man, I think there were over 30 points in that category.
Yes. Yep. Did not translate this week, unfortunately. So back to the draw. I'm definitely going to switch up the lineup this week, and I'm sure it's gonna come back and bite me in the ass. But let's go over the stats, man. Let's go over to see who won.
Yeah. So in the overall league, let me try to share my screen here. In the overall league, we had the highest point total of the season, so that was interesting to see.
Maybe of all time, and that's the case, right?
Yeah, I think so. We'll have to look back at last season. I'm sure there was a couple games where there was 8 interceptions or something, but not Terry Bradshaw. They pulled out statistics, high statistics in each of the scoring categories. 37 being those special teams, and again, that was Cleveland. So all punts, no offense, can't move the ball. You want to target those teams in order to rake up the points in the special teams category. The all-important win-loss card was a little tricky this week with teams like Houston winning. Chicago almost won, so that would have thrown a monkey wrench in this whole thing. They ended up losing, so it did kind of save some people. But yeah, I mean, not Terry Bradshaw, raking it up. OG franchise goal stoppers coming in on the podium for the first time in franchise history, actually.
Okay. Congratulations.
So, congrats to Linda and, team goal stoppers. Again, solid production, just defensively, I guess couldn't pull out that much. Penalties raked it up. I don't know who she had in penalties, but I know she was texting before in the Telegram channel, really kind of following suit with watching the games on Sunday. So she was rooting against her teams, barely pulled out that 1 yard 1 yard short victory because Doc Special was knocking on the door only 0.3 points behind. So that's where those penalty yards and those offensive points deductions really come into play in those 10th of point discrepancies. Those really make the difference, as we'll see later in the pick six standings.
And all the way at the bottom,
coming in at the basement is Judon Johnson for Juju, and I guess this just adds to the misery of Judon. Yes. Yeah, man. Like, I don't know if she mistook her picks for Vegas versus Unfantasy, but 3 categories in the negative. She clearly, didn't get a lot of luck out of Houston in the win-loss card, and I think that really just solidified the basement spot. But help is on the way. So
on the way, they're gonna get the winner. Terry Bradshaw's gonna get 2 packs. Is it 2 packs or 1 pack of cards?
One pack.
Yep. Okay, so
1 yard short will get 2 cards, and then the loser will get 1 pack as well.
Yep. So that's exciting and stuff. Also, we did something a little bit different. The owner's pass doesn't directly, the logo on your owner's pass doesn't directly affect your score in the game, but there can be some cool benefits to it. So we've done some things in the past, and we'll continue to do them where if your team lost, you got a card. We're not doing that, but we're giving a pack away to the team on the owner's pass that scored the most unfan points. So all the NFL franchises who, if you ran them across the board, the team who would have been the worst team to have this week.
Yep, and that team this week was Cleveland. And again, that special teams, all important special teams with all those punts really pushed them over the edge. New England wasn't too far behind. I think it was 4 points or 5 points off. But yeah, Cleveland wins it this week. So let's see, AFC North. Looks like we have the fourth down failures and Indy Stouts will each get a pack of cards for having Cleveland as their owner's pass logo.
And fourth down failures does not need extra cards, as you pointed out on the pre-call. He's already doing very well this season, but happy for him. Happy for, what does he say, Indy Stouts. They'll get a new pack to kind of play around with and be able to have some more options for their lineup.
Yep. So fourth down failures definitely running the tables, not only in the AFC North, but third overall in the league. So yeah, they're going to get a pack of cards to hopefully confuse their lineup submissions now, and have them drop down in the standings a little bit, give me a chance to bump up.
Who do we have? So what place are you in? I can't see the screen.
I'm in 9th. You're in 10th. Okay. So we're in the top 10. We're in the hunt. Anything could obviously change at any moment. For me, I think I need help defensively. So, I saw a couple trades. I made one last week. I think that worked out decent enough. Got to check to see if that helped them out on the OG cards, because that's really what we traded for. But yeah, I mean, I need some help defensively and offensively. I think I'm good in penalties and special teams, and obviously I've been doing good on the win-loss with the perfect pick'em so far. But yeah, both sides of the ball I need help with here, man. So anybody that has looking for some trades, hit me up. I'm definitely in the market for it.
Well, Team Whistleblower, hashtag Whistleblowers, has duplicate defense Denver. But I feel like I have an advantage to swing that trade over you. But if anybody else has an offer for that, I know that is being shopped out there. Just doesn't have Telegram or Discord. So Denver defense up for grabs. I think I might do some wheeling and dealing a little bit. I mean, look, last year we gave year-end awards, and there was a Steinbrenner award for someone that made the most trades. So there was points that go to your overall franchise score, not with the league, but it's advantageous to make some trades. Don't know if we'll do the Steinbrenner award again this year for those that make the most trades, but it is beneficial to interact and engage for sure. And everything, and it can be a little creative too, because I definitely have some OG cards that I'd be down to trade to improve my lineup this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's news to me that we're not doing that, because I've been wheeling and dealing, hoping to get that award. But
you created the award.
Just take the rug and rip it out from under me as I'm standing on a cliff. But it's all good.
We got. How about the Battle Bunnies, man? Who is in?
Well, I'm in the OG league. Let's talk this now, because obviously you're first and you would like to gloat a little bit. So you're running the tables in the OG league. Football goal is not too far behind, and then followed by Dynasty of Cards. But the weekly winner, thank you very much. So first 1 yard short is Muffin Punts. So, as it turned out, 1-2 punch, both are offspring. You ended up in third. My wife ended up in fourth. My other son ended up in fifth. Your wife in sixth. This is a family affair in the OG league this week.
It's a family affair.
Coming in the basement, we have Captain Falcons. Again, poor performance on the offensive side on that win-loss card. Just no luck on that front. So
yes.
Battle Bunnies. Let's bump into the Battle Bunnies. So again, this is just the regular 2023 statistics broken into two divisions: the Battle Bunnies and Dead Poker Society. So leading the way in Dead Poker, I have been dethroned for the time being. Dive Eagles Dive and Hulk's Bad Dog. Hulk's Bad Dog made some really, really good moves this week. That trade with me, with the OG league, I think they did some damage, and I think they picked up some cards in the free agency, as well as some additional packs. So they're making moves, man. They're making moves. That's the DPS league. In the Battle Bunnies league, you got the fourth down failures, goal stoppers, and then you. So we're starting to see, north of 300 point totals. It's really anybody's game in any of these leagues or any of these divisions. 1 week you can end up with negative score. or you can end up with 128.
Yep.
So these swings are very, very prominent. So we're
Yep.
excited.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, no, there was no additional buy-in for that stuff. It's just if you're Battle Bunnies or DPS, then you jump into this stuff. We'll announce the prizes on this of who's going to win. It's going to be some good stuff, some fun stuff for this league for sure. So excited to announce that soon, but it's not going to be a joke of a prize pool.
Yep. So speaking of prize pool, quick recap on the pick six. Skunks week 4. Raking it out by 0.6 points.
Wow.
Edging out whistleblowers.
Hashtag whistleblowers.
Hashtag whistleblowers.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to get yelled at. But yeah, that all important point total on that offensive side of the ball. That 0.6 points, man. That's the difference here. So $100 goes to Team Skunks. We also had an interesting week where all team submissions correctly picked the win-loss card, which made that point total a little bit higher than I guess people were anticipating versus other weeks. So once again, these submissions can come in week to week. Week 5 is already open. Quick note on week 5, and we'll mention this again a little bit later. This is the first week of bye weeks. So we have 4 teams that are on a bye. So including in the pick 6 submissions, just make sure that you're not going to select one of the teams that are on a bye. And that information is in the email. I believe it's the LA Chargers, Tampa Bay. I'll have to look to see who else it is. But it's in the email confirmation, and we'll go over it when we go over the weekly picks this week too.
I wish it was the Patriots on the bye. But yeah, man, not many submissions on that stuff. So very glad that Skunks pulled that off. We'll send them $100. That's going to happen all year. So there'll be $100 that goes all year. Just pick the team with the worst lineup. Don't need to have the cards. Jump in, $10 entry for the chance to win the 100. I'm going to jump in on a couple teams this week, I think.
Yep. Well, it's a good week to do it because there's less teams to select from, right? So your options are limited. So your likelihood of picking a bad team to there's just less options to try to decipher from. Mm-hmm. That being said, if you need help on your roster because you have a team that's on a bye week, you can either scoop up another pack, which will be kind of a blind. Pick them on one of the respective scoring positions, or we're going to add more cards to the free agency this week. And then you can actually select the actual team you want in the particular category. So that's a way to replace one of the cards that may be on a buy for you this week.
I got too complacent with my lineup. I'm going to check that out. Can we open the packs for the ones that won?
Yes, we can. I got to get to that screen.
That'll be good. That'll be fun. So again, pack for the winner, pack for the loser that scored in last place, pack for fourth down failures and Indy Stouts for having the Browns on their owner's pass. So here we go. We got one popping up now.
Yep. So this is going to be the first pack. This is going to go to not Terry Bradshaw. So offense, Jacksonville, might not be a bad card to play this week as they're in London against that stout Bills defense, which we really didn't talk about. I'm surprised. I thought you would be rubbing that in my face about how they dismantled Miami, but you did call that one.
We can, we can chat back about that stuff. I'm just so done with
We've
football
moved on. We've moved on.
Yep. I've moved on, but cool.
There you go. There's my response to your analysis.
So yeah, so the first one had what was that background? Was it Boo Santa? Is the first one? Yep.
The Boo Santa Philly uncommon card.
Uncommonly bad background. Then we got a second string logo. So the normally we have the jokes. This one is the jerks. I do have a jerks shirt somewhere, but I don't usually wear that in public, especially when I start having kids. I couldn't bring that to play dates and stuff. But yes, that is a great logo, great second string logo there. All right.
Ironically, the two teams played against each other this past week too.
Yep. Next card.
Next card, we got Tampa with the background of LA. So this could be a good card. We'll see who they end up. Well, I guess they're on a bye this week, so won't be any much help to not Terry Bradshaw, but I'm not crying for him either after he won the week. Arizona ironically beat Dallas this year, so this is storybook card to have. Actually, I like the way that looks on that blue background too.
Yeah.
And then the win-loss, Dallas. So we'll see who they end up. I think they're actually playing against San Fran. That might be the game of the week this week. So this would
That's
take
like old school. That's like Dion from when Dion was good. Would have those nice little matchups with San Francisco and Dallas. And that's the shit out of luck, uncommonly bad background, which is all the pieces worked, man. All the pieces worked with the luck being out, and then that Colts poo logo just made that for a nice dot to connect.
Well, let's see what pack Judon is getting. And then
Jack from Ireland asked how you did as his proxy. Don't know what that means. But
not good. So Jack tried to set a couple lineups. I guess he wasn't getting signal over there, or his phone kept migrating over to the wild card. So I just selected whatever team you had legal in that position from the week before. So I'll have to look at the standings and see how you did, bud. But yeah, hopefully you get a chance to set that lineup, and not pick the Vikings, because as lucky as they were this past week, I don't see that luck lasting too long.
Yep.
So Judon, let's open your pack and see what cards you get. Well, there's a fitting card to have. Patriots offense, which is god awful. And maybe a decent enough card to have. I don't know if they're worse than the Giants. That's going to be, who's going to be the best unfan offense between us, Giants or Patriots?
Giants are going to be worse unfan. Giants definitely have a better offense at this point than the Patriots. Patriots have a tough schedule, dude, so it's not going to get easier. This week will, but not with your two best defensive players out. Love that second string logo in the collection this year, bringing it back all the way to when the Patriots only had one scandal, the Spygate. But good, very fitting for Judon Jones in for Juju to get this card.
Yep. Let's see what else they got. Well, New Orleans and the Jets. This actually looks good on the green background too.
Yeah, those dark backgrounds are solid. Patriots playing New Orleans this year.
So Seattle. Seattle played great last night, so I don't know what kind of card this would have, but a couple injuries might derail some things this week. So especially on the offensive side of the ball, which obviously leads to the all-important punts.
Yep.
Love the gigantic L. It's so fitting for a league like this, and obviously whatever Vegas is doing on their side, it's matching that.
The title of that is Just Lose, Baby, right? That's the title of that one. And then, maybe DJ Disco Fur can help us with crowdsource some ideas for another Seattle logo. That was one of the ones that was like one of the last ones that we did. It was super difficult because it's like, what the people got to get this 12th man flag that they always fly. We didn't want to do anything gory. We had a bunch of birds that were already like dead. So it's like, let's get off that train. But that said, the colors pop. That actually looks really cool. Remember, you had it up as a background as your fish tank years ago, and I was like, that's when I started to dig that logo. But always up for something else, including this one, the orange skins. It's like that time of year again when it gets too friggin' polarizing. This is one that transcends it still for me. I'm very cautious when it comes to being super polarizing, because again, I don't want to limit where I can go to Thanksgiving year to year. But this one just transcends that, where I will still wear this shirt regardless of where I'm at, whether I'm next to a MAGA person or next to a Ralph Nader person and anyone in between.
I feel like we made modifications to this too when we were watching the video on the front end. He seemed less orange back in 2016.
Yes.
So we made him a lot more orange to emphasize the joke of the whole thing. But I still love this one, man. This is one of my favorites, just because it would create that type of conversation, right? That's the whole point of these. And again, you could show this to anybody, and I've shown it to people who swing one way or another and they get a good chuckle out of it.
Yep.
And finally, the win-loss card.
We are such
gigantic ass in the moon.
Yeah, we are such inappropriate. We just proved it. If people know this already, we just proved it by opening this pack. When packs go wrong, I did not think about it like this. We got the jerks out there. We got the political stuff in there, and then we got your design, which is a full moon, which is kind of a play on Randy Moss Vikings, but also Warren Moon up there for the Vikings, and a gigantic ass as a moon.
And then the Tampa win-loss card. So we saw Tampa pop out a couple times over the course of these two packs. Let's see who they're playing, man. Let's jump into the picks.
Okay, and last week, again, people have like the Swami, right? You're like the unswami. You've called yourself the un-Nostradamus before, but you and I went head to head. I believe. I mean, who's counting? But if I was to count, I believe you went 11-5 last week, and I believe I went 11-5 as well.
You went 12-4.
I knew it. I just wanted you to say it. Wanted to hear it.
Yeah, who's counting? It's funny because like before we jumped on, you actually asked me, how well you did. Like I'm supposed to keep tabs on your picks. Yep. But I did, and in fairness, I did accurately give you the correct response. So I'm looking at an overall record of 36-13.
36. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I haven't been able to pick because I had to go, I don't know, use the restroom mid live stream or something along those lines. And I didn't get to pick, so I don't have all your picks, but I feel like we could start now. And what's ironic and cool about it, for me anyway, is that we're two fanboys, but your fanboy is what made you lose this week. So again, one game separated us, and you had picked the Giants. You picked the Seattle to lose to the Giants. I was living in reality there, and you lost it, and that's what lost you the week. Of course, I picked the Patriots.
I think there was a couple ones that lost me the week, man. I picked Cleveland, and then Deshaun Watson goes down right before kickoff, and I didn't want to change the picks because we make these announcements on Tuesday. But there was definitely a bunch of that, a bunch of ones that kind of bit me in the ass. But again, what I saw last night from New York was just embarrassing. It's too polite of a word. So again, I did go with them. If you recall from last week, I was slightly hesitant, but I did end up going with them, and big mistake on my end, and it puts you over the top, man. So maybe you're the un-Nostradamus of the week that people need to beat. Yep,
we got to see it. So anybody that's here, put your chats in there. We got to figure out a way where people can like actually stump the un-Nostradamus or stump the unswami. So pick who you think is going to lose in this. We'll make our picks and run through them quickly. And where do we start?
Thursday, Bears go into Washington. Loved what I saw out of Washington this week on the road division game against a team that hasn't lost yet, defending NFC champions, I should say. Couldn't close out the game, but I think they sort of turned some heads. Now, division game, you never really know one way or another, but I would almost lock this game up as Washington W.
Okay, yep. So the Bears lose. Chicago. We'll both pick that stuff. I love Jack just talking trash on this stuff. It's when we make these streams great. Says needs college degree to decipher these cards. He's drinking tonight instead of smoking, because if you smoke, then you're going to come up with some really creative Seattle Seahawks logos for us. But yes, love Jack talking some trash.
Sunday morning, once again, we have a London game, 9:30 a.m. Eastern kickoff. Jacksonville is the visitor this time, and they are playing Buffalo, who will be traveling from Western New York east all the way over to London. That is not at Wembley. It's at Tottenham. So I don't know London's layout, but can't imagine it's too much of a trip for Jacksonville. Definitely a longer trip for Buffalo. Will have an impact.
I don't know, man. I feel like it's actually a tough game to pick because traditionally you got some pretty crappy games out in London. So it just depends how the Bills. But the Bills just looked very, very good against the Dolphins. I feel like everybody's saying, just like last year, man, everybody's saying the Dolphins going to go to the Super Bowl. Like literally the Dolphins were talking about going to the Super Bowl in like week 4. That started like week 2 this year. So the Bills got disrespected. Had this great offense coming into their home stadium, and then they dropped 30 plus or 40 points on them, whatever it was.
So is it too weird to say that Stephon Diggs is arguably the best receiver over the last 5 to 7 year period?
He's definitely up there for sure. Yeah, no, he would be the top 3 for me.
I mean, what he did in Minnesota, and he kind of hit the ground running in Buffalo. I mean, 3 touchdowns yesterday. He is definitely in the conversation, that's for sure. So I'm going with Jacksonville losing. I don't see them standing up in any way, shape, or form to that defense. Early games on Sunday. Another division game for Baltimore, man, and another division road game for Baltimore. I think they've played a lot of road games this season, and I think that on the back end, that's going to help them. They just need to keep momentum flowing in the division. They go into Pittsburgh, huge rival game historically. Pittsburgh looked god-awful this past week. Baltimore took care of business in Cleveland against the hurt Cleveland Browns team. I think they keep the momentum rolling, man. I think they run the table in the AFC North. Pittsburgh goes down at home.
Yep. Same deal, man.
So as Linda pointed out in the Telegram, we have the battle of the kitty cats. We have Carolina going into Detroit. Detroit is heavily favored in this game. And, I read, I saw it in the Detroit game against Green Bay on Thursday night this past week. Jared Goff is really a force to be reckoned with in Detroit at home. That's going to be my phrase of the year, I guess. But I don't see Detroit slowing down at all. I think that, their whiskers are in the breeze right now, being on top of the NFC North, and they're not going to relinquish it and lose to a team that hasn't won a game yet. Carolina continues their epic fail hunt.
How is their Carolina's quarterback been doing? I haven't really followed that stuff. I feel like he's been overshadowed by CJ Stroud and the Colts quarterback.
He did not play well this past week. The week before he was hurt. Couple weeks. He's not doing much to be classified as a number one overall pick superstar. That's for sure. He's arguably not even the best quarterback to come out of the draft. I mean, after seeing what Stroud is doing down in Houston, he's turning more heads than I think, Bryce Young is, but it doesn't mean he can't turn it on 1 week. I just feel like they don't have enough help. Thielen is good, but is he a number one target or is he a complementary receiver? I guess we need to ask Jack that. He was definitely a force in Minnesota, but he also had a lot of help on the other side of the ball from the receiving side.
Yep.
I'm going with Carolina losing.
Yep, we're on the same picks, man. So eventually we're gonna have to strategically go off against each other at this point. But let's go.
Maybe this is it, man. Houston goes down to Atlanta. Atlanta coming off that tough loss across the pond, and Houston is riding a momentum wave, man. 2 wins in a row. I can't remember the last time that happened for Houston. But Atlanta is the favorite by slim margin. But I also feel that, I'm not seeing a lot of positivity coming out of Atlanta's offense like I am on Houston. Both defenses are nothing to even comment really on. I think Houston's offense dominates. I think Atlanta loses this one at home.
I'm going to go with Houston losing that. So you're right. We did differ from that one.
Maybe even this one too, man. Saints go into New England. You mentioned that they're playing this week. You can kickstart the analysis first on this one.
I am going to do everything I can to just break from my new reality, or stick with the actual reality, go back into my delusions. I would easily pick the Patriots on this one to win if Judon and Christian Gonzalez wasn't out, because the Patriots now are like their 4th cornerback, and they have 2 good cornerbacks, and now they're down to their 4th as the starter. So I'm going to go with New England losing.
I got to go with New England losing as well. And, I just think that the Saints came off a tough division game against Tampa last week. They lost it at home. Carr is still not playing bad. Defensively, I think that they have some injuries that they need to overcome, but they're still a very solid defensive team. And with everything that's going on in New England right now, I can't see them losing that game. Maybe I'm wrong, but I am not liking what I'm seeing out of Mac Jones at all, man.
He looked awful this week. That's the first time I could say that, where it's like it was his fault. Last year you could say he doesn't have an offensive coordinator. Guys are setting him up to fail. He freaking blew that game. Give fumble in recovery for a touchdown, and then a pick 6. Just awful. And that game was not ever close, but it would have been a lot. Would not have been a 31-3 or whatever the hell it was. This guy didn't turn the ball over 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, it's last season was really like, we don't have an offensive direction. We don't have an official offensive coordinator. Our offensive team is really defensive. Excuses were piling up, and you give the guy the benefit of the doubt. And this season you give him the tools and he's not doing it, man. At what point do you make a decision there?
I don't know if he has the tools per se. I don't know if they let Jacoby Myers go away, but at the same time, he's got tools better than to do what he's been doing in that world.
I mean, even that, I feel like Myers got more play in week 1 in Vegas than he did in 3 weeks in New England last year.
Yep.
So we'll see. Giants head down to South Florida. This is a rebound game for the Dolphins. This is another embarrassment that the Giants are going to post. If you get sacked 11 times, you need to fix something quick. And if not, teams are going to blitz on you all day long. They are going to figure out stunts to make that offensive line even more confusing. I don't even know if I don't even know a timeline of him coming back. But they need something, and they need a momentum kick in the butt now. I don't see it happening this week. I think the Giants blow it in Miami.
Well, this would do it if they had it. And I so want to pick the Miami to lose, because this 2023-24 season for me is turning in more about an unfan than a fan season. So I'm tuning in every Sunday or Thursday or Monday to watch the Dolphins lose at this point. So I really want to pick the Giants. I feel like this would be a big bounce back game for them. And I'm not sold on Miami overall, but I don't know if the Giants can stop what Miami's doing anyway. So I don't look at it as a blowout, but I think the Giants lose.
I don't know if it'll be an embarrassing fashion like Denver game, but I don't see the Giants having a shot in hell in Miami. Titans go into Indy, another game in Indy, another division game. Tennessee looked good this past week. Indy did as well. They just couldn't close the door. I don't know, man. Who you got in this one? This is a coin flip for me.
I feel like Tennessee have not watched one down of their, and I have the Sunday ticket. I have not watched like one down of any of their plays that I can at least remember, which is probably the same thing. So I don't really going in here blind. I have watched a decent amount of the Colts. If they've looked good, but they've blown some things too. And then I think that Ravens game was, I wouldn't say handed to them. They made the plays, but like Ravens did not want to win that game. That said, though, I've seen enough of them and really nothing of Tennessee. I'm just going to say Tennessee loses.
I'm going to say Indy loses. I think Derrick Henry played really well this past week. And I don't know if LA can run the ball on Indy, especially in overtime, I think Tennessee could as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many games Cincinnati needs to be the favored before they actually start turning heads in Vegas that they're not a good team this year, but they are favored against Arizona in Arizona. I think this is a mistake. I'm going with the Bengals to lose this game. I am loving what I'm seeing out of Arizona, even though they're not posting W's. They're getting the job done, and I think that they really haven't had a chance to play a team in the same situation as Cincinnati is right now, and I think Arizona is gonna light it up, man. I'm gonna say that Arizona wins this game, and since he drops another.
Well, this is going to be very telling for Cincy because this is their season right here. You don't win this game, I don't know what the heck they're going to be doing from here on out. So that being said, I'm going to go with Arizona to lose.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Philly goes into SoCal, plays the Rams. Philly had a scare against Washington. Washington bumped them into overtime, couldn't close the deal. LA, again, they snuck out that win in Indianapolis. This could be a week where Philly drops it. I'm going to say Philly loses this game on the road, flying across the country, late game. LA's got some momentum. They're at home. They're going to have the fan base behind them. Big game against the Eagles. I think they pull it out, man.
Depends on Stafford. I don't know if any reports will come of his injury or not. I mean, he looked awful with the hobbling around that last time. I'm going to go with the Rams to lose on this one, but I wouldn't be surprised either way. It's not my lock of the week.
So Chiefs go to Minnesota. I almost want to delay my comments on this game until Jack has, enough time to, drunk text his pick on this, because if he selects Minnesota to win this game, we have to have a very serious conversation about what's reality and what's unfantasy. There's no way Minnesota wins this game. I'm absolutely devastated to watch Kirk Cousins in a contract year playing the way he is. I don't think he's that bad of a quarterback, but what that team is pumping out. I mean, he and I had this conversation at the beginning of the season. Losing Cook is going to be detrimental to that offense. I didn't think it would be this bad.
Yeah, no, I don't really know, man. Kansas City tends to not play so well in the beginning of the year, and they tend to make close games that you think would be blowouts. So, in my experience in these last 2 years with unfantasy, I've been burned or tried to stay away from them or against teams that they play against, even ones that they should blow out, like the freaking Jets. So I wouldn't say this is the lock in my book, but I would go to Minnesota to lose this, and that's got to be kind of their season's going to be in jeopardy here
if it isn't already. Jets go into Denver. This is again another game where you have two teams that are just struggling at every level here. I think the Jets end up pulling this one out just based around what we saw them do against Kansas City last week. Denver had a comeback game against Chicago, but that's like playing the Devils in hockey, on a football field. So who cares? I don't think Denver's a good team. I think their coach might be 1 or 2 seasons out of the league, too old to be a part of it again. So I think the Jets go into Mile High and yank one out.
Well, we have our answer here, man. Mini in an upset. I don't know.
This with his heart. His heart of hearts.
Yep. It's with his Guinness. He's speaking the truth. With his Guinness, he's going to the game. You should see this. Oh, we need pics, Jack. We need pics of your seats because they are legit. Everybody should see them. We'll post them on here next week.
Perfect. The game of the week. Cowboys go into Santa Clara. San Fran is firing every which way from Sunday. Love what they're seeing out of the receiving core. Christian McCaffrey is just dominant, catching the ball and running the ball. Defensively, they're getting the job done. I've been on the San Fran train since the beginning of the season, and it continues, man. I think Dallas gets lit up in Santa Clara, and we really know who the dominant NFC team is after this week. Yeah, man, you've been on that Rice-A-Roni train for a while. I would say, look, everybody in their regular fantasies are super happy with Christian McCaffrey, as they should be. I would love to have him on a team if I was partaking, but he's a hit away from being injured. I'm looking for reasons to say that San Francisco's going to lose. Eventually, they are going to lose, so it's a matter of what game. And this could definitely be that game. Where is it? It's in Santa Clara, you said? It's in San Fran, yeah. Okay, so I am going to go with Dallas to lose this. And I agree with you that the Niners will lose a game. It's either going to be against Philly at some point in the season or Seattle. Those are my two guesses. So we'll wait till that time comes, but I see them keeping the undefeated. It's possible. I mean, their next game is in Arizona, right? They already played in San Fran, and that was not a walk in the park. So those division games out west are starting to turn very dangerous now. One final game on Monday night. Packers go to Vegas under the lights. Hated what I saw out of Green Bay, man. They, embarrassed at home on, national television. New quarterback, we got to do this right. We got to set the tone. Jordan Love played like shit. Granted, Detroit has been playing amazing. I love what I see out of that team, but Green Bay just looks lost. They can't move the ball. He even looks lost trying to scramble. Defensively, they couldn't shut anything down on third down. Now, on the other side of the ball, you have another team that's desperate for anything positive. I think, you can't lean on Devontae Adams forever. I don't know if Garoppolo is going to play or not this week. That's going to be a huge question mark. But if Garoppolo plays, and, I think that Vegas has a chip on their shoulder after losing the close game in LA, division game in LA, a game they should have won or at least tied or at least come back with, they got a chip that they're going to make, right on Monday Night Football. Vegas takes down Packers. Okay, so we got the Green Bay to lose. These are hard games to pick. I'm going to go with the Packers to lose, which puts us back
on the same path because we picked all the same teams, and then we diverged at like pick 8, and have only gotten back to picking the same team here. So how many more games we got left? 1 or 2?
That's it. That's it. That's the slot for the week. There are 4 teams on a bye. You have Cleveland, LA Chargers, you have the Seahawks, and you have the Buccaneers. So if you have any 4 of those teams set in your lineups after the week is over, you will be getting 0 points in that scoring category for that submission. So just make sure you double check and swap out another team. You can always use the wild card if one of your wild cards is not on a bye as well, to replace that particular card in the lineup.
And for anybody that's in the basement or in the middle of the pack of the Unfantasy Football League, this is the week that this things start to change around a little bit, right? So the people that are obsessively updating their lineups, or at least updating their lineups frequently, this is where you get an advantage. For some people that are taking it casually or kind of forget, this is where they'll get 0 points. You have the ability to make some great leaps in the standings starting this week. It'll start evening out. And then we saw this last year, when the dust settled, the teams that were in it to win it kind of settled towards the top for the most part, with a couple exceptions.
Well, I mean, this week is perfect example of that, right? So, not Terry Bradshaw cannot lean on the special teams Cleveland card this week, right? So, where does that put him in his lineup? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but that means that top spot is definitely up for grabs. So we'll see how everything plays out, man. Once again, kickoff starts Thursday night, Chicago in Washington, Thursday night football. And then we got an early game on Sunday. So just make sure you double check those lineups. We do have the merch store open and live. I don't know if you could see that.
That's good.
These are what the OG shirts will look like. We're going to be, getting all that prepared and sent out. We have everybody's sizes. So as you pointed out last week, if you've eaten too many nachos over the last month, let us know and we'll get that squared away with whatever size you want. But it has your OG logo on the side. So actually I have the Carolina logo from my team last year. And then, the hapless, I should wear this at the Miami game if I end up going this week. But, definitely caught some attention at the grocery store this past week when it arrived. Got a couple conversations out of it.
I'm on to basketball, man. So go Celtics. It sucks that I can't really talk trash with you with the basketball. You don't really engage. You just make fun of the Knicks yourself, and that's not as fun as it is with the football. So I definitely need to get somebody that is an anti-Celtics fan, an un-Celtics fan with Miami Heat. I don't know if there's any Milwaukee fans out there, but we need somebody to talk a little bit trash about because that season's right around the corner, man. Starting up, we got some fun stuff.
This is arguably one of the best times of the year, right? You got baseball and playoffs, which you and I waved bye-bye a long time ago, but the Fall Classic is always fun. You got basketball around the corner. You got hockey starting next week, man. October 10th is the first puck drop. So, and then you got football, which is already a month into the season. It's a great time of year for sports and great time of year to be an unfan of all these sports. So always open to suggestions, comments, trash talking, trades. Anybody who wants to post some trades, we're going to figure out what the trade deadline looks like. And then after that, we'll be able to disperse the playing cards into digital format and digital wallets. But that's going to, happen over the next, 4 or 5 weeks, give or take. We'll find a good time slot to make sure that everybody has a chance to make some trades if they need to. And we'll make sure that the free agency gets updated and the prize cards get sent out today. Again, pick 6 is going to be open for week 5.
1, 2,
You just talking so loud, I just had to get it
and
out.
if Goodell ever tries to take us down, we'll go crazy.
That's it. Good. There you go. Got it. Good. I guess so.
I mean, that was my Oscar